Welcome back, everyone. I hope you're all excellent. I've got the Roland GP-8 today. I bought this off eBay for like 80 Australian dollars. Super cheap, costs about that much to ship, and my justification was, hey, this thing is basically 8 Boss pedals in a rack unit. You've got there like auto wah, compressor, turbo overdrive, DS1, phaser, a 3-band EQ, which I don't think Boss ever did as a standalone pedal, but let's just say it's a Boss pedal, a DD3 style circuit, and then a Boss chorus, all in one box, which you can connect in 4 cable methods. So this was definitely designed with guitarists in mind. The only downside with this is the power cord kind of doesn't seat properly. So if it does power on, it will work for a while, but a lot of the time it just doesn't power on. So yeah, this particular unit doesn't work great at the moment, but hopefully it will last long enough to do a video. And it's kind of interesting. Let's look on the back. There is MIDI. You can hook up like a foot switch that got sold with this. You can do 4 cable method with it, and there's 2 relay switching jacks, so you can connect it to your amp. I think it's easy to look back and just go, oh, the 80s meant Bradshaw racks for everybody, but most people you talk to who were actually gigging at the time were like, hey, I had an 80A MP1 and an Alesis quad reverb and a MIDI switcher, and that was kind of the rig. Then some of them would be like, I didn't even have a rack. I had a DS1, a DD3, and a Roland Jazz Chorus amplifier, and I didn't understand why it didn't sound like, you know, Mike Landau. So that's the other reason that kind of interests me. This was clearly designed with guitar players in mind. It's like, hey, this is the one rack unit you need. It gets all your stuff off the floor. You can pair it to your amp. You can switch stuff on your amp, and it all sounds like our pedals. So yeah, let's see if this will stay on long enough for me to actually do a video with it. With all that out of the way, let's hear some sounds. Just kind of thinking of this as a Boss pedal board where I have my delay and my chorus in the effects loop. Everything else is in order. In front, this is my dry sound. And let's start with the dynamic filter. So this is an envelope filter. Just think funky auto wah. So you can tweak the sensitivity of the filter in there, and you can tweak whether it's going up or down. Kind of fun. Let's hear the compressor. I've set this up basically for squish and boost, so it is not subtle or transparent at all. Let's hear it. I really like that. That's like a really nice kind of fat boost. Those two together give you this. Kind of interesting, right? So let's turn both of those off. Number 3 is the overdrive. I'm fairly certain this is just the old Boss turbo overdrive. I kind of like that. It definitely sounds like an analog drive. Next up, it's basically a DS1. Let's have a listen to how this sounds. next we have the phaser, again, a Boss phaser. That's the phaser. The phaser with the, let's see, can this do like a really bad Hendrix thing if I use the envelope filter and I use the DS1 and the phaser is like a kind of uni vibe? That sucks. Let's not do that. Let's not do that particular combination of effects. All right, hopefully I've turned all of those off. The number 4 button is really sticky. It's off. Awesome. The EQ, I've just set, I've cranked the mids all the way up, left everything else alone. We will revisit this with like a crunchy amp that I'm just kind of thinking the bridge pickup is really, really bright on a Strat, so pump the mids up and it should be a little more kind of humbucky. That's kind of cool. I think if we use that because it's after the distortion block, it's kind of going to compensate for that big mid scoop I'm getting with the distortion. Let's check it out. Yeah, that transforms it totally. That's kind of cool. So let's turn those off now. Is the distortion off? Did the button work? It didn't. Let's try it again. Now it did. So I've got the delay and the chorus after my amp block. This is just basically like a DD2 or a DD3. It has that kind of gritty early digital thing going on. Check it out. So that was interesting, kicking in the EQ and the drive and the compressor and the chorus. Let's do this. Let's go, if I hit edit, I should still have my chorus on. I kind of got to, do I want number 1 on? I got to look through my phone monitor because this display is not very bright. So now I can use the value knob to navigate. What can I do here? I want to add some feedback to my chorus. So it's kind of interesting that there's a pre-delay on the chorus. Never really seen that before. And master volume. Feedback. Let's just add a little bit of feedback to this thing and get some kind of flanger-ish stuff. Back to the neck pickup. kind of interesting, right? The flanger is totally fine. It's rather inoffensive. It's not the greatest flanger I've ever heard. Same with the chorus. I'm saying chorus and flanger interchangeably. It's the chorus with a feedback line on there. I really like the delay. The delay sounds great and gritty, and you know, a used DD3 where I am cost me about as much as this unit. It probably works a whole lot better than this particular unit at the moment, but they're comparable in price used. So I got the one thing I really like in the box, then I really like the compressor as well. The drives are fine, the auto wah and the phaser are fun on top of all of that, and you've got an EQ as a basic utility tool in there. I didn't do a whole lot of tweaking on this just because I don't want to press the wrong button and have it crash, have to do the video again like I said at the start. But yeah, that's kind of what you can do with some of the stuff in the GP-8. It really does just sound like a bunch of Boss pedals in a box. You've got the routing options. You've also got the ability to have, I think there's 2 jacks on the back you can use for external switching. So it does a lot for not much money used, provided you can get one that's in decent working condition. This one works sometimes, and I only want to use this sometimes. So as long as the sometimes it's going to work and the sometimes I'm going to use it line up, I'm probably going to be happy. One last thing before we do go, we'll go over to a crunchy amp and I'll show off, I think especially that kind of DS1 mode and the EQ boost in front of a crunchy amp it's really fun. That's basically how I used to run my old pedal board, where it was like, have a crunchy amp, put a boost in front for lead, clean up with your volume control, and then have a delay in the effects loops. So I'll do that now. Okay, I'm gonna kick in the EQ first. We'll hear that, then we'll hear the distortion. Little bit of a longer delay right there. So I don't have too much more to add with this particular unit. I would say I will probably hang on to it. I think I'm going to try and fix that issue with the power cord, and hopefully it will be a lot more reliable. If anything, it's just a rack mounted CS2 and DD2 for me, which I really like the sound of. What do you think about it? Let me know in the comments, especially if you're someone who owns one of these. Have you pulled it out recently? Give it a go. I think it's a really fun unit from Roland, and at the prices they're going for at the moment, I think they're a bargain. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you all real soon.